Caravaggio was a very controversial character, and his paintings were also very controversial. The Madonna of the Rosary was probably meant to be a very large altarpiece for one of the churches frequented by the nobility in Naples. It is nearly 4 meters high and more than 2 meters wide. It was meant to be placed above the altar, and the viewers will look at it from the bottom up. And what is the first thing that you will see when you do that? Dirty feet, empty hands, imploring people, poor people on their knees begging for help. The only rich person in the painting is there at the extreme left. He's probably a member of the Colonna family. In fact, can you see, he is literally portrayed in line with the column. In Italian, the word column is colonna. The next layer is taken up by Dominican friars. 2 of them are recognizable. On the left-hand side of the painting is St. Dominic, the great preacher, with a hint of a star on his forehead. On the other side is St. Peter the Martyr, with a scar on his head and blood on his cloak. He was hit on the head with an axe by his assassin. Interestingly enough, Caravaggio himself had a scar on his face, the result of one of his many duels. Notice Dominic the preacher, Peter the martyr, the 2 modes of discipleship not only for Dominicans but for all Christians, professing our faith with our voice, but also prepared to lay down our life for Christ, words and actions. But the focus of the whole painting is the mother and the child. Notice how Caravaggio has stripped her of all the celestial symbols. She is first and foremost a mother. Like all mothers, she cares for her child, and a child cares for her mother. Look at Jesus' right hand, lovingly and trustingly wrapped around the neck of his mother. But now let us focus on the child. By the way, originally the child was a baby sitting on his mother's knees. Caravaggio changed it and painted him as an older child and stained him. He becomes the central figure of the whole painting. Mary's role is the role that she has played at the marriage of Cana, where she says to the servants, "Do whatever he tells you." But look at this child here. He's an adorable, curly-haired, chubby child, looking directly into the eyes of the viewers and pointing to his chubby belly as if he's telling them that he has become a human being of flesh and blood, like all human beings. But he looks concerned. Why? Because he cares for all human beings made of flesh and blood like him, especially those who are struggling. That is why the mother of Jesus, in a gentle but determined way, is demanded that Dominic distribute the rosary. But to whom? Not to the rich and famous, not to the strong and the mighty, but to the poor. But why the rosary? How can the rosary be of any help to them? During the Counter-Reformation, the Dominicans were entrusted with the spreading of the devotion of the rosary as a response to Martin Luther, who had challenged the Catholic Church to put Scripture at the center of its renewal. For a population that would often be illiterate, the rosary was the perfect prayer. What are the 2 main elements of the rosary? Firstly, a meditation and contemplation on the story of Jesus as written in the Gospels. Can you see the scripture? And then followed by our response with 150 Hail Marys to match the 150 Psalms in the Bible. But the question still remains, how can the prayer of the Rosary be of any help to the poor? In the painting, Caravaggio has 2 characters looking out to the viewers. One is the patron, and the other one is the child Jesus himself. The patron, as we said, probably belongs to the Colonna family. This family did protect Caravaggio during his many troubles. So he is telling the nobility that they too must use their power and their wealth to offer protection to others. But to whom? And here the child Jesus provides the answer. At this time in Naples, the gap between the rich and the poor was enormous. On the way to Sunday Mass, the rich would have driven past in their carriages many people with dirty feet and begging hands. These are the ones that they must protect. But finally, look at that drape. I know that Caravaggio was all about dramatic effects in his paintings, but to me, this is much more than a dramatic effect. Look at it. The color red speaks of blood. The size of the drape. He wraps around the column and then he stretches and flows horizontally right across the painting. To me, this is what Caravaggio is saying. The Rosary is not just a prayer. It's a commitment that those who pray it make to Jesus and to Mary, the mother of Jesus. Did you also notice how Caravaggio includes two sets of mother and child, Mary and the child Jesus, but also a mother kneeling down with her protecting arm around her child? This is what Caravaggio is saying to the leaders and the nobles in the church. You must protect the poor with the same tenderness and with the same passion with which a mother protects her child. And that protection must not be just for a few. It must be extended to all human beings who are made of flesh like the child Jesus. To all human beings who have blood flowing through their veins. That's what this huge curtain drape running across, flowing across the whole painting is saying to me. The Dominican motto is Contemplata aliis tradere. In other words, hand out to others the fruit of your contemplation. We must contemplate first, and that's what the Rosary is helping people to do. Contemplate the love that Jesus has unleashed through his birth, his ministry, his words and action, his death, his resurrection and ascension into heaven. But once we have contemplated this, Caravaggio is telling us, now go out and bring out the fruit of this contemplation through your words and action, as Dominic and as Peter Martyr did. But there is more. Caravaggio is also telling us that we have to be like Mary. Those who pray the Rosary are called to go out and be mothers of God. How? Because we commit ourselves of bringing forth Christ to others, bringing forth Christ to the world like she did, through our words and our action. And next week I got something very special for you. Look at this picture. Can you tell what it is? No, I'm not saying. It's a surprise. Bye now.